This is the money Carlos Alcaraz earned for his Roland Garros victory and what he'll pay in taxes. The Mercian will receive the largest prize in the tournament's history, but since he is taxed in Spain, the treasury will take a significant portion. Carlos Alcaraz made history at Roland Garros after defeating Jannik Sinner in an epic final that lasted more than 5 hours and is now considered the longest final in the history of the Parisian tournament. The Mercian tennis player came back from 2 sets down and won an intense 4-6, 6-7, 4, 6-4, 7-6, 3, 7-6, 2 battle, cementing his place among the greats of world tennis. Beyond the trophy and sporting recognition, the victory comes with a financial prize, but also a hefty tax bill. The Roland Garros organization announced that the 2025 edition winners will receive a prize of €2.55 million, the largest purse in the tournament's history, with a significant increase compared to the previous year, when the singles champions received €2.4 million. This increase in prize money reflects the tournament's growth and also the parity between the men's and women's competitions. After his victory on the Philippe Chatrier court, Alcaraz secures an economic reward worthy of the sport's biggest stars. However, a large portion of that money will go to taxes, as is the case for all professional athletes. Despite Roland Garros taking place in Paris, the Spanish tennis player must pay taxes in Spain for the income earned. According to estimates from the tax advisory team at TaxDown, Alcaraz will have to declare the entire prize in his country of residence, meaning the Spanish tax agency will apply an approximate tax rate of 47.5% of the gross amount, due to the combination of national and regional rates in Murcia, where the tennis player usually resides. Applying this tax burden, Alcaraz's actual take-home prize from his Roland Garros victory would be almost halved. In concrete terms, if experts had already estimated that nearly half of the €985,030 won in Rome by the Mercian went to taxes, the situation in Paris is similar but on a larger scale. Thus, from the €2.55 million prize, around €1.34 million would go to the tennis player, while the tax agency would collect approximately €1.21 million. It's worth noting that the tax impact in Spain varies depending on the autonomous community of residents. For example, if Alcaraz were fiscally based in Madrid, the regional tax rate would be lower. A historic victory and an inevitable toll. This edition's final of Roland Garros will be remembered as one of the most contested and exciting, both in sporting and financial terms. After more than 5 hours on court, Carlos Alcaraz lifted the most coveted trophy of the clay season. However, the euphoria of victory comes with an implacable reality. Nearly half of his reward will vanish in taxes, an unavoidable toll for any professional athlete at the highest level. Carlos Alcaraz's party in Paris after winning Roland Garros. This is how the Mercian tennis player celebrated his 5th Grand Slam. Carlos Alcaraz celebrated his Roland Garros title in grand style after an epic final against Jannik Sinner. In that match, he had to come back from losing the first 2 sets and even save 3 match points. Displaying all his magic and full tennis repertoire, Carlitos turned the match around to claim the 5th Grand Slam title of his career at just 22 years old. After speaking to the media on the Philippe Chatrier court and taking a photo shoot with the trophy, Alcaraz celebrated in style in Paris with all his friends and family who had traveled to the French capital. Carlitos entered the party holding a smaller replica of the Roland Garros trophy and completely euphoric. All the guests at Alcaraz's party lit small sparklers to celebrate with the Mercian and, to the rhythm of Bella Ciao, they honored his 2nd Roland Garros title. Of course, food and drinks weren't missing, as shown in videos posted by attendees on their social media. The Mercian, as expected, popped a bottle of champagne and drank straight from it to kick off a celebration that lasted late into the Parisian night. Alcaraz will now take a few days off before preparing for Queen's, the tournament leading up to Wimbledon. The French press bows to Alcaraz. The Spanish tennis player Carlos Alcaraz's victory at Roland Garros, after a historic 5.5-hour final where the Italian Jannik Sinner won the first 2 sets, captivated the front pages of the French sports press this Monday, which described the day as legendary and unforgettable. There's no point in using pretty phrases or big words, they're not enough to describe what Paris experienced on court. Philippe Chatrier, begins the article in L'Équipe, which highlights the duration of the final, the longest in the tournament's history. With the headline 5H29 of legend and a photo of the sportsmanlike embrace between Sinner and Alcaraz, L'Équipe emphasizes the quality of the match, which was the first Grand Slam final between the world's number 1 and number 2, they turned it into a monument. Alcaraz, who survived 3 match points and won in a final super tie break, showed key boldness to tilt the match in his favor, according to Le Parisien, which describes the final as historic, extraordinary, and astonishing. dedicating a section of the front page to an image of the Spaniard lifting the trophy. Legenda Rai. Simply, starts the paper's analysis, adding, driven by a crowd completely behind him against the relentlessness of the world number one, Alcaraz, who had never come back from 2 sets down in a major, delivered an extraordinary performance. Unique. Masterful. Le Parisien is not the only media outlet to recall Rafael Nadal, the player with the most Roland Garros titles, 14, and sees Alcaraz as a worthy successor to the Mallorcan on the clay of Western Paris. Le Figaro, for its part, features a photo of Alcaraz kissing his 5th Grand Slam trophy on the front page and praises the Mercian's ability to prevail in long, high-pressure matches. He draws strength and confidence from them that allow him to keep believing again and again, and turn around even the toughest of matches. Are we witnessing the greatest Roland Garros final of all time? After more than 5.5 hours of epic tennis, the answer is a resounding yes. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner starred in a historic duel that will be remembered in golden letters in sports history. The young Mercian claimed his second Roland Garros, saved 3 match points, and finished with a dominant super tiebreak that sealed a legendary feat. Stay tuned, what happened at Philippe Chatrier was not just a match. It was a movie. The final between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner began at a blistering pace. The Italian, world number one, started dominating the match with authority. His shots were precise, his serve nearly unbreakable, and his focus absolute. In that first hour, the Mercian, though solid, couldn't trouble the Italian. Sinner took the first set 6-4 and seemed in full control. The second set began similarly. Sinner was up 5-2, and although Alcaraz mounted a spectacular comeback to level at 5-5, the tie-break again went the Italian's way. 7-6 to Jannik, and the world number one was just 1 set away from his first Roland Garros. But if there's one thing Carlos Alcaraz has, it's pride, heart, and unbreakable determination. He was not ready to give up. The third set was a turning point. Alcaraz began to loosen up, dictate the points, and push Sinner back. With a clear 6-4, he was back in the fight. The match had changed, and the Philippe Chatrier crowd felt it. But the best was yet to come. The fourth set was a thriller. Sinner, as cold-blooded as ever, broke Alcaraz's serve early. He reached the 10th game with a 5-4 lead and 0-40, 3 championship points. 3 points from glory. But then, the genius from El Palmar emerged. Carlos saved those 3 match points with courage, grit, and simply spectacular tennis. In the tie-break, it was Alcaraz who took control. He sped up, raised his level, and forced Sinner into errors he hadn't made before. 7-6 for the Spaniard. Set tied. The stadium roared. Hearts beat with every point. The fifth set wouldn't be a continuation, it would be a masterpiece. Alcaraz broke the Italian serve early and took a lead that seemed definitive. He dominated much of the set, and when serving for the match, Sinner responded. He broke Carlitos' serve with flawless play and forced an even more dramatic finish, the super tiebreak. And there, in that tense finale, the best Alcaraz appeared. The champion. The one who rises under pressure. The one who turns impossible moments into a spectacle. With a crushing 10-2, he closed the match and collapsed on the court, knowing he had just written an unforgettable page in tennis history. Carlos Alcaraz becomes the first player to win his first 5 Grand Slam finals. And he did it in style, in a match lasting over 5 hours, against the world number one, and saving 3 match points. He's proven he is not just the physique and talent, but also the mindset, heart, and hunger for greatness. His second Roland Garros, his 5th major, and probably his most epic victory yet. Alcaraz is no longer the future. He's the present. And he's building a legacy aimed straight at sporting greatness. The final between Alcaraz and Sinner wasn't just a match, it was a life lesson. Of fighting, of resilience, of believing until the end. If you were moved by every point, every drop shot, every celebration scream, you're not alone. This match reminded us why we love tennis. During the award ceremony, Alcaraz addressed the crowd, but especially his rival, with a message as sincere as it was powerful. The level you have is incredible. I know how much you're chasing this tournament. You'll be champion not once, but several times. It's a privilege to make history with you. You're a great inspiration for young people and for many, including me. These words not only reflect respect but also a deep mutual admiration that goes beyond competition. Because yes, Alcaraz won the final, but he knew how to recognize Sinner's role in a match that needed both players to become legendary. And Sinner was no easy rival. he dominated the first 2 sets, pushed Carlos to the limit, and was 1 point away from winning Roland Garros. The 3 championship points he had are proof of how close he came. But the greatness of sport, and especially tennis, is also measured in how you lose. And how you honor your opponent. Carlos Alcaraz isn't just writing his legend on the court, but also off it. His words to Sinner, full of emotion, humility, and admiration, remind us that sport is much more than victories. It's respect, shared history, and inspiration for millions of people. This final didn't just give us a champion, it gave us a rivalry that defines an era and an example of sportsmanship that will not be forgotten. Jannik Sinner, on the other hand, was a semi-finalist last year, so he was only defending 800 points. By reaching the final this year, he earned 1,300. That is, he gained 500 net points and further solidified himself as world number 1 with 10,880 points. Despite losing to Carlos in the final, Sinner emerges stronger in the rankings, a paradox only the ATP system can explain. But watch out, because the real battle could be decided at Wimbledon. Alcaraz is defending another 2,000 points there as the reigning champion. If he fails to repeat the feat in London, Sinner could open an almost unbridgeable gap in the rankings. But if Carlos manages to defend Wimbledon, or even improves in later tournaments where he didn't shine in 2024, like the US Open, the chase for the number 1 spot between August and November is more alive than ever. Alcaraz's triumph at Roland Garros doesn't give him extra points, but it does give him morale, confidence, and a clear message to the entire circuit: he's stronger than ever. The Mercian keeps fighting from behind, but with more chances than ever to snatch the throne from Sinner before the year ends. Meanwhile, other names are also rising in tennis's elite. Jack Draper reaches world number 4 for the first time, Musetti climbs to number 6, and Tommy Paul rises to 8. On the other hand, players like Casper Ruud fall out of the top 10. Do you think Carlos Alcaraz will regain the world number 1 this season? And who will be his biggest threat for the rest of the year? Let us know your opinion in the comments, subscribe to follow all the moves in the tennis world, and share this video if you also believe we're living a new golden era with Alcaraz and Sinner leading the way. See you at Wimbledon.